So yeah, this happened in 1993. Is I was a kid when I got adopted to Tom and Selma, and yet Glenn pulls up with a Pontiac Firebird, and I said, "Glenn, does the car an Autobot?" He said, "No." I said, "Wow, does it talk back?" And so that gave him the idea, because he came to Tom and said they were about to, I think they were canceling Battlestar Galactica at that time, and so all of a sudden he comes by, parties with my dad, and so one day he comes by and says that he was disappointed that Kit got told in one of the show episodes, and I said, "Wow." So he told me and surprised me because I think it was Tim when he said he was gonna let me have Kit. And I thought I was surprised because I was like, "Wow." But then he said that they were about to cancel Knight Rider, and one day I remember him coming. We lived in Houston. I was probably about 10 years old when I told him that I have two cars I want to show you. He said, "Okay, let me see them." And so I showed him the Pontiac Firebird, the black one, and then I showed him the red car. And so also there was one time I played this song on the piano and wrote it. It was real soft. So he comes right behind me and says, I'm a musician myself. I said, "You are Uncle Glenn?" He said, "Yeah." So when I did the dun 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 dun, he went straight. No, do it faster. Dun, dun. So he went went dun 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 dun, and I was like, wow, because this was when I was like, bro, you know. So I started suffering memory loss from a head concussion. My dad passed away, and we lost contact with Glenn Larson. Uh, so 2014, I was basically I got kicked out at 17. Had a lot of situations happen. We knew also surgery at Aragon's, and my face was pushed on mat as Alfredo E. Newman. And so, real quick to the point was, I was in Chicago, and I was trying to figure that I had to get a replacement for a state ID, and just got it. It was a paper copy. And so I was spare changing at 7-Eleven. CHPD officer rolls up and he says, "I need your state ID." I said, "Oh, and my car's with pros." He goes, "Well, they said that you were asking people to change." I said, "Well, I'm a little bit stuck in Chicago until I get away." And so all of a sudden, as he changed my state, he said, "You're supposed to get kids." I said, "What do you mean?" Kids? I don't have kids. I think my wife cheated up on me. I think my kids ain't my kids because this was years back. He goes, "No, not kids, kid." I said, "Wait." So in fact, I didn't take a shower. I need a hygiene kit. I think it's just one. We'll go get one. He said, "No. Do you know anybody by the name of Glenn Larson?" I said, I tried to flash back and didn't remember because I suffered head concussion. So years passed. After 2014, after I was notified, didn't know it. I went straight up and was on my Instagram page and saw that Terminator was coming out with Dark Fate. And so I scrolled down and saw Knight Rider and thought, whoa, this came to my head. What if this possibility that Knight Rider could associate with Terminator, and maybe I could give this as a movie idea on Instagram if it gets seen. So all of a sudden, decided to do a little illustrations, put his pic and put it in motion. It's up on my Instagram page. It almost looked like 1,000 Ways to Die, actually, because he goes, I go, "Michael Knight, there's a nuclear arsenal, nuclear rockets coming this way. I think we need to get in the car." And so all of a sudden, the picture changes to Michael Knight in the car with Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator, and the picture changes to a nuclear explosion. So it goes black, and then all of a sudden you don't see Michael Knight anymore. You just see the Terminator and his skin off. And so that was a question in Knight Rider as well as Terminator. If you're in a car that's called Kitt and a nuclear explosion happened in front of it, you think as if Michael Knight would survive. That's why. So then, about that next 2 days, I said, "Who is the founder of Knight Rider?" And so when I found out, I went straight scrolling. His picture came up, and I went, "Uncle Glenn, oh my God, I knew this person when I was a child, and he used to hang around my dad as they were like good friends." And then so the verification about this is I'm trying to figure out how it me. I just it's like I jumped from being a high class oil tycoon's son to jumping on the streets, not knowing where my investments and everything went that I had, and I'm still working on it. So, but Also, I got information that I'm related to Richard Nixon and Marilyn Monroe through political fear, but that's another story. Uh, but I picture myself, if I was to introduce myself to David Hasselhoff and said I knew Glenn Larson, he was a close family member, uncle kind of situation. Nah. And I was came to the house. Yet I tried to contact Glenn Larson Jr. to see, and there's been no feedback from anybody on Instagram. Be surprised I'm having bugs on my phone too. My phone starts acting funny. Every time I start talking about big things, I think they're a third party Illuminati or whatever the fuck they are. They're sabotagers. They're spies. They go around and try to see and be nosy. And I feel that there's software in my phone that's really making my phone act funny. But the point I'd say is, okay, I got one thing, is if I was to receive kitt, I want kitt to be started by my phone. Two, the two screens on the dashboard have to be changed to iPads. And I had to do it and make them pay it if I bought the iPads to my similar situation instead of having this two screens if there was a situation like it. Because I felt that there are certain technologies. I wrote an idea for Knight Rider, but it's also the fact that this new Knight Rider, he has to have he's not actually, his brain, they take out part of his brain because he was supposed to die from a brain tumor. And this device actually makes a computerized eye and a computerized chip to where he can talk to kitt to the device in his head. He can see everything that kitt throws to him, from Big Brother cameras to satellite. It's awesome. He has to touch kitt in order to stay alive, and because the fact is it's to charge the machine part. And so I don't know if they've had any. The new Knight Rider that was pushed to 2014 or 2008. I don't know if that was under the control of Glenn Larson, but I wish I could understand what it's like. I feel like somebody says, "I love you," stop it. But the channels that is course to be has to be pushed for me to get kitt somehow. I'd like to see it. I'll find a way to get to David somehow. Yeah, I'm just still transit though, and this is how it is until I figure out how to do all this stuff. Good day, I'm finished speaking.